legends revive. Welcome to the IzzyVerse, where the panels break and the stories burst. First appearance, history made. Slap it, grade it, immortal past. The IzzyVerse, canon forged in a universe cursed. From golden to modern, the story survives through the bleed of the page. It stays alive. Flip that spec, puppet dome dreams. Holy grail whispers, tear at the seams. Market spikes in the rumor mill's breath. Crossovers ink the line of death. Footnotes trace the collector's code. White pages pure in a mylar hold. Investment grade, sealed in a tomb, but the panels still scream, they boom. Back issue fire, collector's sin. Every variant cover pulls you back in. Welcome to the IzzyVerse, where the panels break and the stories burst. First appearance, history made. Slap it, grade it, immortal past. IzzyVerse, canon forged in a universe cursed. From golden to modern, the story survives through the bleed of the page. It stays alive. Flip it, press it, spec it, grade it. Canon's eternal, you can't escape it. KSU, Arc eternal, bleed through you. Welcome to the IzzyVerse, where the panels break and the stories burst. First appearance, history made. Slap it, grade it, immortal past. IzzyVerse, canon forged in a universe cursed. From golden to modern, the story survives through the bleed of the page. It stays alive. Flip it, press it, spec it, grade it. Canon's eternal, you can't escape it. KSU, Arc eternal, bleed through you. Welcome to the IzzyVerse, where the panels break and the stories burst. First appearance, history made. Slam it, grade it, immortal. Welcome to the IzzyVerse, canon forged in a universe cursed. From golden to modern, the story survives through the bleed of the page. It stays alive. It's more than a run. It's the crossover you can't outrun. The IzzyVerse lives on. The IzzyVerse lives on.
We're on and we're live.
We are, and nothing's crashed yet. Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. First and foremost, I gotta address the elephant in the room, even though there is no elephant in this room. Last week, we had a situation, and the situation was the stream was freezing on us. But yet YouTube was running just fine. So we were talking to each other. You and I were talking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It wasn't until the chat was telling us that we were getting that it was freezing on this. So I'm there. I'm like, what could possibly be causing this problem? So it turns out that Streamlabs Talk Studios was causing the problem, in which I can't have that happen. So I hate to say we are back in StreamYard. So go ahead, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I was wrong. Give me all that stuff.
I'm not gonna say anything. Listen. I'm not gonna rub this in your face. You had to learn.
Oh, please. Right? I did not want to. I don't want to spend that kind of money. It's ridiculous.
I know you don't want to spend that kind of money.
And
here's the
part I hate. They got rid of features. They added some new little things here and there, and that's fine.
What did they get rid of?
Well, there's certain things you can't do like you used to.
Like
the way I was able to do certain screens and things like that. I can't do the same things I used to do. We're back.
I'm willing to bet you can. You just haven't figured it out where.
Well, you know me. I'm a techie guy.
So
I know my stuff.
You're gonna figure it out.
Okay.
You're gonna do great.
So let's say what's up to the guys in the chat. We're gonna start with our good friend Las Cruces. Hello from Nuevo Mexico. That's my boy Las Cruces. And look, E-Man's in the house. What it do, fam? How you doing? Sup, gangsters? We got the UK in the house. We got Nerdy Geek in the house. What's up, Nerdy Geek? There better be some Transformers talk today.
Oh, there's never a promise.
Well, is Transformers in the zeitgeist right now? Not recently.
Why wouldn't they be?
Oh, right now.
We got an Energon animated series coming to Amazon Prime.
Okay, well, how soon is that going to be?
It doesn't matter. We know it exists, and because it exists,
and when the time to have that conversation, we're going to have that conversation, and we could even bring E-Man to the house. Right?
We should.
We got White Tiger in the house. What's going on, White Tiger? Heroes for Hire. Matt is here. Usually Matt does a live stream, so apparently he's not doing it right now. So, all right. And we got Huzzah. What else we got? What else we got going on? There you are doing your thing. You are here, of course. And so I was told there will be cookies.
The only cookies here are mine.
Oh, I already got rid of the cookies. I erased all the cookies. But there will be ducks. There will be ducks. Rattlesnake is in the house.
This is the last opportunity for ducks, right?
This is the last opportunity for ducks. So let's go ahead and showcase what we're going to be doing. What's today all about? So let's see how this works. Let's see if this works for me. I got rid of you. Ha! 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 That's funny. Apparently, you have to be in the stream for me to put you in this. So there you are. All right. I like this mode a little better. See, I already played with the windows a little bit. All right. So clear cookies and cache all the time. They can be. Yeah, tell me about it. So we got 3 icons. Oh, well, we got 4 icons. And the 5th icon, obviously, is the centerpiece. So the way this works is always the case. You leave a super chat of any size, doesn't matter to me, and you get to pick which icon you want. When we get to the 4 icons in the surrounding circle, we're then going to go into the center. Now, in the center is going to be something special, something a little more valuable and things like that. So let me show you guys exactly what we have right now. So let's see if I can make this work a little better. And I'm going to put myself here. Let's see if I can do this. Can I? Why can't I do it? Yeah. Okay. I don't know. This is still me getting used to this whole thing. Let me see.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to make me bigger.
Well, okay, but you want you bigger and you want this to be still on the screen?
Well, now why am I blue? Am I blue?
You're not blue.
Oh, my screen is blue. I'm not blue to you, but I'm blue to me.
Is that better?
I don't know. Okay, it's better. Okay, here's what we got so far. We got Flash Gordon, a Whitman variant. Okay, we got that. We got Lobo issue number 2. That's already part of the Rat Pack. We got this beautiful second printing of Absolute Wonder Woman done by the great Mark Brooks. That's going to be part of the pack. We got Incredible Hulk 379, the classic Smart Hulk. We got Comics and Magazine issue number 2. Damage Control issue number 1 is in this pack. Wonder Man number 1. I think I'm getting an echo from you.
No.
Absolute Batman issue 19 is here. Wolverine issue number 5, The God Tale. We got Bizarro Year None. Wow, there's a lot of books here. Catwoman issue 30, a Jenny Frison variant. Space Ghost number 1. This is the Frank, I think it's Frank Cho. Is it Frank Cho? I believe so. Frank Cho variant. It's right there. And then the big books, our big books of the bunch. We got a Something's Killing the Children spot variant, limited to 250 copies. The DK3 Master Race, signed by Klaus Janson. And finally, the last book in this pile is Superman 203. I believe this is 4 times signed. We have signatures from Alex Gordon, Joe Kelly, Michael Turner, and I always forget the 4th, and Talent Caldwell. All this is going to be part of today's duck race that we will be doing later. Let me move this because this looks terrible. I see a blue screen right now.
That's okay. Move your mouse and click on a space away from the live screen.
There we go.
Yeah.
I highlighted it.
Yeah, you were accidentally highlighted. Look, there's 2 super chats.
We got a super chat, but you didn't even say which one you want.
I want Space Ghost.
You want Space Ghost? No, there is no Space Ghost.
Okay, you're telling me that Casper with a freaking astronaut helmet is not Space Ghost?
It is not Space Ghost.
Give me whatever that is.
So
Give
you
me
want
that little white Martian in it would give
okay,
whatever that
but
is.
when you got that little helmet, what do you call those?
The air bubble?
Well, no, it's the type of person. It's the profession. What kind of
an
profession?
astronaut?
An astronaut. But look how big he is. Is he big or is he small?
Izzy, this is not that kind of game. We are not in WeHo. Reveal whatever the comic is. You've got a 3rd super chat already.
All right, so we got 3 super chats. So our first super chat is going to be Micronauts annual number 1.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that. I was not expecting this.
It was a little Micronaut.
Okay.
Well, the funny thing is that's actually the logo for a Micronaut company. A company called Micronaut. That's their logo. So I figured, why not?
Well played, sir. Well played.
All right. Well played. All right. So now I see our second super chat comes from Heroes from Hire, and that's Matt. And he is telling us he wants the yellow X.
Yes.
All right. This is a throwback for us, bro. This is a throwback. Because the yellow X. You ready for it?
I'm ready.
Ultimate X-Men number 1. Remember this? It's old school. I actually enjoyed this, and it was Adam Cooper, right? Adam Cooper.
It was a great 22 issues.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool, really cool.
And then I don't know what happened.
It's life. That's what happens. And then Rattlesnake is in, and Rattlesnake for Justice League, because that's what he calls it, right?
Yes.
So we got the Justice League logo. So let's go ahead and figure out what it was or what it is. And it's Justice League of America.
I love this one.
Issue 197, written by the late great Gerry Conway. I had to get a Gerry Conway.
And drawn by the late great George Perez.
Yeah, so I had to get this, so I put this in the pile. And then it looks like Nerdy Geek also put in something. So now we got the 4 icons.
He said confirmation person, which you know is ordained, but okay.
Confirmation person.
I like that.
And of course, the last book is going to be Ordained number 1.
Ooh, a first print?
Yeah, that's what I got.
Oh my gosh, how titillating. Oh my goodness.
I got a first print of Ordained, a very high spec book, so that's in there. All right. Rattlesnakes, all he wants is the Michael Turner.
I know, nerdy too. They all want Michael Turner.
They want that Michael Turner. They want that Michael Turner. We still have in need of one more, and that's that center. The center one is always a special one. So we need one more super chat. Once we get the super chat, we're going to close the super chats for the one. Well, not going to close the super chat. We hit our goal.
Oh, Las Cruces came.
And Las Cruces came with the. You know what I miss? I miss my little pop up. Used to have my little pop up. My little pop up's gone. I'm upset. All right. The last book in our pile. It's going to be a Supergirl Wonder Woman, Woman of Tomorrow, #1, the blank. But
I'm like, I know you misspoke.
I know, right? And it's going to be a sketch of the winner's choice. So the winner is going to get the choice of the sketch. So we got the pile. The pile is set. It's ready to go. Later today, we will do the duck race. So with this said, we are going to move this stuff here. I see Garth Juan is in the house. How you doing? And yeah, we did it. We got them all in there. Woohoo! So now I could close this. And then now we could talk a little bit more about what we're going to talk about today. So let's close this one since I don't need it anymore. All right. And let's talk about let's get to the news because there's a lot to talk. We need a Cliff sketch. Cliff, you want to do a sketch?
What kind of sketch?
I don't know. You do sketches or what?
Like a sketch, like a cold open, or like a sketch where like I doodle something.
I don't know. That's up to them to make that decision.
Y'all need to explain in the chat. Y'all need to.
All right. You ready to talk about some news?
I guess.
In the news today. Well, this is actually comes in, I believe it came from yesterday. This is yesterday's news, but we don't do a daily show, so we got to talk about the news today. James Gunn has come up to say that the Authority movie that was planned has now been scrapped. Mm-hmm. So, with that being said, what are your thoughts?
We're never going to see the engineer. The thing is, they created a perfect backdoor entry to that movie by including the engineer and Superman.
Well, that was part of the plan, right? To introduce somebody.
And then how they suddenly felt that this won't work in the larger, because they're very powerful characters, And how
I think it's a little different. And I see Nelson's in the house. What's up, Nelson? I think it's a little different. I don't think that's the case entirely.
Do you think
my personal opinion?
Listen, my number one suspicion is Paramount. That's my number one.
There's one. That's definitely one.
That one, if they're so uncertain with their future, let's not play with projects that are uncertain.
Okay.
So that's one. The other is I believe it is difficult to weave them into the movie universe, But my number one suspicion is Paramount.
My suspicion is that it doesn't make sense anymore. The Authority was meant to be a group of people that would do anything possible by all means necessary. So they would do whatever violent acts that they would need to do. The problem is that kind of like the way the Watchmen movie was when it came out, didn't really gravitate to the broader audience because it didn't feel fresh. It didn't feel new. I think the Authority will fall through that same thing because we have things like The Boys and we have shows like Invincible that's kind of doing it already in their little landscape. So this would be just another thing of it. Even though I think the approach that they were supposed to take was that this is the anti-Justice League. So
yeah, and my other suspicion is homophobia. So, no, we can't handle Apollo and Midnighter on the screen. Hey, Black Spiders.
Hey, Black Spiders. So here's my question about Apollo and Midnighter. We know about their gay relationship, but it was also kind of a parody of that, right? I don't think the intention was to be a parody, but it became a parody of Superman and Batman because that's what they are, right? Apollo's supposed to be Superman. Midnighter is supposed to be a Batman, right? In the
Right.
Wildstorm universe, right? So do you think that's poking fun at the Justice League?
To a degree,
Because it was at the time.
in Action Comics during that War World storyline, we had Superman hanging with Apollo and Midnighter.
Oh yeah, afterwards it was, they brought him into the scene.
Yeah, so no, of course I felt they were very much meant to be, a
Meta commentary.
A pastiche. A little parody,
It was always meant to be a parody. So I don't even know, but it sounds to me like they're doing some changes here and there. What's up, Frankie? Found these first appearance for $2. Ooh, cool. Congrats, man. All right.
That's amazing. That first
Right.
appearance is not cheap.
Yeah. So, but now that this is the case, since we do talk about spec books, what do you think the value of these books are going to go through? You think that's it? It's over? Fire sale?
They're gonna just shoot right back down.
Yeah, which makes it easier to buy.
It makes it easier to buy, which is a shame because they have one of the best stories in comics in the last 30 years.
Yep, absolutely. So, and Alan Moore even touched on them and did some work with them. Grant Morrison, of course, Mark Miller. So, they've been worked on by some of the greatest.
I love how the only person who hasn't been who hasn't exiled themselves or been exiled, who's worked on them, is Mark Miller.
But Mark Miller gets himself in trouble too. So
nowhere near the level of those of the other. Well, yeah, nowhere near the other two. One is self-exile, and Grant Morrison. What a shame. Wait, no, Grant Morrison's fine. What am I talking about?
He's fine. He's not exiled, but he's kind of.
He's not exiled. No, they're all fine. I'm thinking of Castlevania guy.
Okay. All right. So there's that one. Here's our next subject. Are you excited for the weekend?
Am I excited for the weekend? Because it's free comic book day?
And comics giveaway day.
Listen, I'm not playing this game with people. All right? I don't know why everyone thinks that they should use the name just because some scumbag degenerate with
you on fire today, aren't you?
It is free comic book day. All right, people say that we are not losing our rights, that people say that we're not losing our freedom, but it is free comic book day, and it should always be free comic book day.
It's free. It's comic book giveaway day. We're giving away our comics.
I think I'm going to protest and give nothing away for the month of May.
How's this for something? For free comic book day, because that's what we'll call it. I agree with you on that. We don't give any of the comics giveaway comics. None of them get given away. In fact, they just be left there. No one picks them up.
No, because I think some people actually want them, so it's a problem.
So there's 48 of the most anticipated free comic book days giveaway books for the day. There are some cool ones. We'll go through some of them, but E-Man wanted to hear about one, so I'll tell him about one. So first of all, we got Avengers Armageddon. It's usually what happens is they start their storylines here. So let me just shrink this a little bit so you guys can see it a little bit better. All right. So this one, I've lost faith in Marvel when it comes to their crossover events, because they put a crossover on top of a crossover, which makes no sense to me. It's like, stick to one crossover.
They are building to this one. They're building.
But they're also building to the Infernal Hulk War, whatever that thing's going to be called. So you don't
Infernal Hulk is on his own trajectory, right?
But it's gonna be a crossover event. You know that, right?
I don't think it will be.
Oh, yes, there will be.
Hey, I heard a rumor that we are getting Planet She-Hulk.
What's up, Kingdom? I heard about that too.
That's gonna be kind of neat.
Okay, so Chip Sardarsky is doing this one. So Avengers Armageddon is one. And here we go. Some Energon universe stuff with the Mask. This is one that I'm excited for, because I kind of like this cover. All right. Hey, look who's here. It's Bo. One of these guys is gorgeous. The other isn't.
Thank you, Bo.
You had to do that? You had to do it.
For Bo, I did, yes.
For Bo. What a scumbag. Anyway.
Jeez.
All right. So there's Energon Universe. So that's coming out there. And so we got some masks. Another Amazing Spider-Man. See, look, we also got the Queen in Black storyline going on as well.
Right. This is the one I thought you were complaining about.
This cover's awesome, though.
Yeah, that's a good cover.
I like it. You know, I don't know if the colors are really doing it justice right now, but I really like the colors. Like the little scratchiness. I don't think you could really see it. There's some scratchiness going on in the style. So there's that. All right, this one I think is going to be cool, which is the next level. Which is I think it's just taking the books and putting them together.
Yeah,
it's not really anything.
Yeah, maybe there'll be like a mini preview of something in there that they'll sneak in on us.
Yeah, so there's that. This one I kind of
no one asked for this,
but I kind of want it. I kind of want it. I want Planet of the Apes, Aliens, and Predator because they're gonna do the Predator versus the Predator in the Planet of the Apes.
Yes, but again,
I want to see that.
Anybody asked for that? What's
up, Daniel?
Audience, please let me know if you were looking forward to Planet of the Apes versus a Predator. I know that was on nobody's checklist.
I think Bo is saying, "Oh hell yes,"
but I think he's talking about my titties, so I'm not sure.
Oh God, Mass had better intro song than Transformers. Wow, he says, "I am."
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
Okay, so we got that one. We got a Something's Killing the Children Road to Slaughter storyline. Okay, that's cool.
Is that going to be like? Is that going to cause a House of Slaughter, Something's Killing the Children crossover?
I don't know, but look at this. She's leaving her mask behind.
Yeah.
So
very Peter Parker of her. Very Peter Parker.
Very Peter Parker. We got another JLA Sonic story. So that's good for the kids. I think it's
just a reprint.
It might be. Ah, yes. The battle we've all been waiting for, guys.
The battle only you have been waiting for.
Versus Jeff. Who is going to win this battle? This is the one this is like for everyone. I'm not looking for it. And Kingdom of Nerds says it's not a reprint.
Oh, it's not a reprint.
Yeah. Look at Bo. We can't curse in this show, Bo. I'll block you. All right. Here's one that I think is good. A lot of people are gonna want. The Lego Batman homage. Which I think is the coolest thing. It's good. People are gonna pick it up. I like it.
Pick it up.
I like it. I do like it. Legacy of the Dark Knight. There you go. I'm gonna pick this one up. Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, but this is Tim Seeley. So there's a little bit there to pull me in.
But it's also gonna have Dungeons and Dragons as well. I think interesting that it's Hordak here.
Yes.
Right. Hordak is also part of it, so that's interesting.
Yeah. Let
Nice House on the Lake. We got another Nice House on the Lake book coming out. Conan Tides of Tyrant King. I like this cover. This is a pretty cool cover.
Is he gonna fight pirates? All right.
I don't know. Jim Zub and Jesus Mariano. Dungeon Crawler Carl. So is this the book that you're looking into? Yep. Matt's looking. Thinks that one's gonna be fun.
Right. This one is just. I don't know what kind of story this is gonna be because this is an actual comic book. But the story, the book that's coming out is like a graphic novel. So I'm really interested to see what they do.
No, we'll find out. Oh, Gun Honey.
Of course, right? Because this needed to be there for Free Comic Book Day.
Free Comic Book Day. It's for the dads, right?
Yeah, this one's for the dads.
There we get Sonic the Hedgehog. What's going on with his legs, man?
Yo, that's super speed.
Power Rangers Zero.
Interesting.
Garfield.
Boom does really good with Power Rangers, so we'll see.
Another Boom Studios with Garfield.
I did not see that.
People don't know. Yeah. I'm trying to say this. I don't even know how to say this name, but you know what I like? I like the name Decidium.
If I understood correctly when I heard it the first time, yes.
Yeah. Rom V.
Oh, Ron Beat, I'm in.
This
That's
could
all
be
I
a
need.
sleeper. This could very well be a sleeper book.
It could.
Mm-hmm. I'm definitely picking this one up. The Greatest American Hero. For those of you who don't know what this is about, this is an old 80s TV show. But what's really cool about it is that the cover is done by David Mack. So you have a David Mack cover on a title from a series from the 80s, which was kind of it was a parody on superheroes, of course. There was some seriousness to it, but it was really much a comedy.
Yep.
Yep. Eman, you can hear the theme song. I hear it too, bro.
Believe it or not.
I'm walking on air. He was such a fun. It was such a fun show. There you go. Look
He's
at that.
doing a signing in California for this book.
Right. Oh,
I'm
Freddie
freaked out.
already got the. All right. Supernatural. Nice cover.
With the car.
Yep. Avatar Legends. All right. With some Minecraft. Lock and Key. Another Lock and Key book is coming out.
Wow.
Yeah. Old man Izzy knows a lot about the 80s. Comic Cats Collectible. What's going on, man? All right. So we got a Lock and Key story. I saw this today, Street Fighter Forever. I love this cover. This is a cool cover to me. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're doing something wrong if you can't make Ryu and Ken look cool.
But look at the colors of the Fireball, man.
No, it's gorgeous. You got the blue energy, the yellow energy, all coming together.
Really good. Looks really good. Mega Man Showdown Special, so that's gonna be fun. All right. Another Flash Gordon. That's a nice black and white Flash Gordon with Jeremy Adams and Will Conrad doing it. So that's awesome. We got some Mark Spears. Keen Spotlight. Okay.
I was gonna say, isn't that the kid that got killed off already? So that makes me worry.
I don't know. There goes Lilo. There goes Stitch. Stitch has a book as well. I'll get that for my sister. Flux House double feature with Fort Cycle and Mind Management. Mm-hmm. The Cimmerian, the Pool of the Black One from Ablaze. That's a nice cover, though.
Ooh,
mm-hmm.
That's very Conan-esque.
Mm-hmm. Gem in the Holograms. Come on, throw back in 80s, man. You know you gotta love your Gem.
Listen, I like Gem, but I don't like when they just roll her out just because.
Okay, so Minotaur. Here's another one. I've never heard of this title. Okay. Ultimate Oz Universe, Fred Van Lente. That looks interesting. Tito Dat Jr. as well. And I believe that's Tom King.
Oh.
Ultimate Oz Universe. I'm curious.
That sounds freaky.
Mark Russell, Felix Ruiz with Terabytes. Interesting, from Mad Cave.
It's by Cullen Bunn and Larry King, not Tom King.
Oh, okay. But why is Fred Van Lente's name is there?
Hold on, let me see who else is there. Graphic novel, Cullen Bunn, Larry King, art by Mike Diodato Jr. and Fred Van Lente, and that's it.
Okay.
So sub art by him.
The future is another Fred Van Lente book. Okay. Aquamanatee.
See, I feel like that one will be a sleeper hit.
Aquamanatee?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know? Listen, if Jeff can make it and Simbi can make it, Aquamanatee can make it.
Another fish. World of Archie. School Bus Graveyard. Interesting. The Name She Lost. Inanna.
Yeah.
Okay. Stitch. Another Stitch book. So we got 2 Stitch books. Journey to the West. The British Are Coming. Blue Lock. Pizza and Taco. The Last Kids on Earth, and the Zombie Parade. Toy Box, Mr. Magic, and pretty much a lot of other books there. So okay, that's pretty cool. Good number of books in there for free comic book day. Not bad, not bad. And sometimes they're books that they're kind of sleepers. So you'd be surprised some books that were free comic book days and actually do have some money involved in them. So
I'm never surprised.
yeah. All right. Now before we move forward, we are going to talk about someone that passed away, but I found out today that somebody else passed away, Cliff. So
From Masters of the Universe?
no, actually wasn't Masters of the Universe, but I don't know how familiar you are. I am actually familiar with this person, this writer. I believe he was a writer. He is Lee Stradinsky, I believe. Stradinsky. He's the creator of Prime and Jesse Quick. He was a huge writer for the Ultraverse. He was big in the Ultraverse when it came out, so which was a Malibu imprint. So Malibu Comics, the company behind Image Comics, they also had a secondary imprint, and they called it Ultraverse, where they introduced us to some new types of superheroes. It actually did have a little bit of a following. In fact, they even turned it into an animated series. So Prime, Prototype, Jesse Quick. Unfortunately, he passed away last night at the age of 71. All right. But, sucks, man. But he's best known for Prime and Prototype. He as a founder of Malibu's Ultraverse, writing Starman, Flash, JSA. He wrote Phantom Lady, The Fly. He also did some work on Action Comics Weekly, Speed Racer, Die Kamikaze for Now Comics, Troll Lords for True Studios, Super Teens for Archie. He did Street Fighters and the 11 for Malibu, as well as creating Terratots with Paul Frickson about warrior monks reincarnated as suburban toddlers, published by Caliber. Interesting. So, so there's an image of him right there. I don't know much about him. I do know about Prime. Did you ever get a chance to read Prime?
I read some of it.
What's your thoughts on Prime? I know it was kind of like a Shazam in a way, but
right, because like the kid had that experiment that was like a goo, and he had to have confidence to become Prime, and then he had to have a different kind of confidence to become the cool looking Prime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the
really,
metalhead Prime.
What he thought was the cool looking Prime.
Mm-hmm. So, we spread our condolences to his family and friends. It sucks because it's like we're gonna do one in a minute, but here's another one. We lost another one, so it always sucks when you hear that. So, our condolences goes out to him. All right, moving forward, it's now time to talk about someone else that passed away. We're gonna be doing a creator spotlight for him, but before we do that, just want to share it with everybody. If you don't know, Gerry Conway passed away. Gerry Conway was a prolific writer in the 70s and 80s, largely responsible for Spider-Man. He did some work for JLA. He's also the writer behind Superman, Spider-Man. He would have been the writer of Avengers Justice League if Marvel and DC didn't have their fallout during the time that they did. Also, he wrote a letter in Fantastic Four issue 50, which actually is found there. And interesting enough, one of the things I learned about Gerry Conway that I actually didn't know, he was very much like Jim Shooter, in which he came into the industry at a very, very young age. Like as a teenager, he was hired. So you could tell in his writing sometimes that it did feel like that. But we are going to go in depth for it. So one of the things, instead of talking about the creations, let's talk a little bit about what people have been saying. So a couple of people have been remembering Gerry Conway. I'll just go up with a few of them. It's like Tom Keene, rest in peace to a comic legend and one of my writing heroes, Gerry Conway, or as Stan Lee called the Kid, who somehow captured and involved so much of Stan Lee's particular magic. Mary Gerry Conway. Gerry brought such humanity to his work using superheroes to tell emotional stories of love, loss, and triumph. All right. I was using his Black Spider, Black Spiders, for a thing and calling him to talk about it. He didn't really care about Black Spider. I think Black Spider is going to have to change his handle.
No.
All right. I'm grateful for his words and work. I remain inspired. Jim Lee. Sad to hear the passing of Gerry Conway, one of the most prolific and influential writers to work across both Marvel and DC Comics. While many know his Marvel accomplishment co-creating Punisher, The Night Gwen Stacy Died, Gerry's contributions to DC were equally impactful and significant, shaping Batman, Superman, the Justice League, and co-created Firestorm, Jason Todd, and Power Girl, and so many more. We'll talk about those later. Gerry defined an era of bold, character-driven storytelling during the Bronze Age of comics, balancing heart, action, and humanity in a way that inspired and captivated generations of readers and creators. In particular, his run on Justice League made me want to try my hand on our flagship title years ago during the New 52. Thank you, Gerry, for the worlds imagined and the heroes created. What an incredible legacy you leave behind. Rest in peace. Marv Wolfman. Gerry Conway has passed away. He's been ill for a long time, so it wasn't a surprise, but it was very sad. I don't remember exactly when we met, but I know it was while we were both on a weekly DC Comics office tour sometime in the late 60s. We and other fews who regularly took the tour wanted very much to write professionally, which made us, in a sense, rivals, but not really, as we were not of equal ability. Gerry was very quickly got lots of assignments. I didn't. I tried to figure out what I was doing wrong. I asked everyone, but no one actually answered until Gerry did. He said my characters didn't sound real. They all talked alike and much more. In short, my stuff stunk. My words, not his. I went home crushed. I was like 19 or 20. Gerry was like 14.
Wow.
Why should I listen to this kid? Putting aside ego, the answer was simple. He was getting lots of assignments and I wasn't. I spent the next year or so reading books on writing, tons of books, and writing spec strips. Tons of spec strips. Now that I knew what my weaknesses were, come hell or high water, I was going to get better. But if it wasn't for Gerry, I wouldn't have gotten the chance to show that. Thank you, Gerry, and rest in peace. That's a nice story. He's like, your stuff stinks.
Yeah.
Let me see here. I'm trying to see someone else. Oh, look what James Gunn said something. Rest in peace, Gerry Conway, the spectacular comics writer who did wonderful work on both Marvel and DC, co-creator of Firestorm, Punisher, and Man-Bat, writer of The Night Gwen Stacy Died, the incredible Lazarus Pit story, the Spider-Man Clone Saga, extremely influential run for me personally as a kid. Well, he started the Clone Saga. I don't know if he was part of the Clone Saga when it happened. His influence affected us all who worked in the space. All my love goes out to his friends and family. And just tons. Brad Meltzer, Mark Millard, Mike Collins, Mike Perkins, Rob Liefeld. So if you guys ever want to get a chance to read what they had to say, a lot of people went out to say a lot of things. So rest in peace, Gerry Conway. You will be missed. And with that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to have a special spotlight edition for Gerry Conway. So
y'all watching this, it's another creative spotlight, everybody.
It's a creative spotlight, and hopefully Cliff is going to be a little more positive for this one.
Oh, I will. I like yours work a whole lot. I hope the chat is with us too. Yeah,
but this was a little different from the one we had last week. But we went ahead and we spent some time actually yesterday and today when we got the news, and we created this creative spotlight. So
did DQ block you on Instagram?
Oh no, he didn't block me because I actually turned it into a members only stream.
Oh wow. Bravo.
He wouldn't block me. You were the one saying what you were saying. So
it doesn't matter. He'd be like, this man invited me for this
Imagine
this fat woman to tear apart my work.
let's talk about Gerry Conway, okay?
Gerry Conway, everybody.
Let's do Gerry Conway. I'm gonna have to cut this part out now too, right? All right, let's do our creator spotlight, Gerry Conway. Creator spotlight, Gerry Conway. Gerry Conway, who recently passed away yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before?
It
It was the day before.
It was the day before, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and take this moment, talk a little bit about who he was. I did get some information about him. He grew up as a comic fan and even had a leather published in Fantastic Four issue 50 when he was only 13 years old. Conway broke into the comics very young, publishing his first professional comic story at the age of 16. He began writing for Marvel in the early 70s. At 19, Conway became the writer of Amazing Spider-Man, taking over Stan Lee. So this is the guy who replaced Stan Lee. All right. His Spider-Man run became one of the most important in comic history. He's responsible for, as we mentioned, the death of Gwen Stacy. We'll talk a little bit more about that, as well as co-creating the Punisher with Ross Andru. He created major Marvel characters, including Ben Reilly, Man-Thing, and Werewolf by Night, just to name some. In 1975, Conway moved back to DC Comics, where he wrote major titles, which included Superman, Batman, Detective Comics, Wonder Woman, and the Justice League. At DC, he co-created Firestorm, Power Girl, Jason Todd, Killer Croc, Vixen, Vibe, and Gypsy, and Killer Frost. Conway wrote the landmark 1976 crossover Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man, one of the first major modern crossovers between Marvel and DC. Beyond comics, Conway worked in film and television, writing or producing for shows such as Father Dowling, Mysteries. I didn't know that. Diagnostics Murder, Matlock, Law and Order, Criminal Intent, and episodes of Batman the Animated Series. That I knew. He later returned to comics, writing projects such as The Last Days of Animal Man, Carnage, The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, and The Amazing Spider-Man Going Big. Gerry Conway passed away on April 27th at the age of 73. All right. Before we start talking about the comic books, how do you remember Gerry Conway?
I don't like how do we say that? I mean, I remember seeing him at cons about once upon a time, and that was very nice.
Yeah, he's always been a nice guy. I've had plenty of conversations with him before. He was very blunt. That's one thing I learned about him. Because I had Marv Wolfman say the things he would say. Yeah. Like you had to be blunt to say certain things. But
I remember he looked at a friend of mine's artwork once, and he's like, all right. He's like, everything is too clean. He's like, every blade of grass, everything's perfect. Everything's too clean. There's no dust. There's just no dirt. There's no muck. There's no rocks. There's no grizzle. There's nothing. There's nothing. Nothing. Everything looks perfect. What are you doing? What kind of story are you trying to tell me? You know, give me blood. Give me Is this guy old? Is he young? What are we doing? I was like, oh my God. That was really fun.
Yeah. Because he wanted the guy to he wanted to show off what he could actually do, his potential, right? Sometimes the worst thing you could tell an artist that's trying to get into the industry is that your stuff is good.
Yeah.
It's
like, what does good mean?
Yeah, exactly. So I like that honesty especially in a writer. He was a writer. I don't know if he actually edited anything, but I'm assuming he was part of that team because he's been with them for such a long time. So let's go ahead and take a look at his list of items. Now, he has been in the industry since the late 60s. He started in 69. So we're not going to go through all of his comics, okay? But we did pick a few that are obviously keys, and some of which that even Cliff was like, well, we got to pick some variety. So we have some variety, some little hidden gems for Gerry Conway. So let's start off with his very first book. All right, and that's House of Secrets 81 that came out in 1969 for DC Comics. High sale of this book is $2,640 and 9.2. That was in May of 2025. Last sale of this book was $55 at a no grade. The book goes for about $150 fine, $375 at a 7.5. There's currently 172 comics in the census. This is his first published work, and he wrote it when he was 16, a 6-page story called Photo Finish. This is where you come in.
What I was gonna say, I just want to make. Really, it was 81. Anyhow, needless to say, look, this is a great key. Okay, he's 16 years old. It's his first work. Obviously, it's a great piece of comic book history.
Mm-hmm. I like how he gets a horror issue at 16. You know what I mean? And
well, listen, most of House of Secrets is about kids getting into trouble. So,
but it is interesting that I didn't know that in the 60s, the early 60s, late 70s, early 70s, how many young writers are coming in, and we're talking young. We're not talking guys that came out of college or anything like that. It was like, no, you 16, you can write.
Well, listen, don't forget, Roy Thomas was very young when he started too.
Yeah, they called him the boy. I remember, and he kept his haircut even after the fact. But speaking of Roy Thomas and Gerry Conway did work a lot. They collaborated a lot.
Yeah,
probably because they were probably of the same age.
Very similar in age. And I had a really interesting discussion with them and Jerry Ordway several years ago, just after the first Fantastic Four movie had come out, because Roy wasn't too crazy about it. He thought the one that went straight to video had more heart. And I was like, look, you probably are thinking it's a little more comic accurate, but this one has a lot of heart. Just look at Ben's story in this movie. It's great.
The one that it didn't go straight to video. It was bootlegged to video.
Right, you know what I mean. Okay, so anyhow, but it was really funny because this was like a 4-way merry-go-round. No, 5-way merry-go-round, because my friend Anthony was there. And I'm like, are we really having like a hardcore discussion about why the Fantastic Four movie is valid with freaking Roy Thomas right now and Jerry Ordway and Jerry over here? I was overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed retelling the story. It was really funny. And then Roy's like, oh, hey, are you going to be part of the panel later? And we were like, why would we be part of the panel? What are you doing?
So to your question, what house don't have secrets? The Mystery. House of Mysteries don't have secrets.
Yes. But what is a mystery if not another type of secrets?
Mm-hmm. Well, there you have it. All right, let's take a look at our next book. Our next book is a bigger book, but it was a magazine-style book, and it was from the Curtis magazine. And that's Savage Tales #1. This one, it came out in 1971. We have a high sale of $37,200 at a 9.8, and that was in November of 2021. The last sale of this book was $1,300. The raw goes for about $244 fine, $576 at an 8.0. There's currently 1,098 copies in the census. Based on that cover you see, this is definitely a Conan book. But more importantly, this is the first appearance of Man-Thing, created by Gerry Conway.
That's right. Giving us Man-Thing and then making him giant size later.
What's your take on this one?
Again, great. I love it. And we get, look, you get Conan, you get Jerry's work, you get the first appearance of Man-Thing. You got everything here. What do you need from a magazine size?
So this was 71. Right? His first book, he was 16, and that was 69. So we're talking about 2 years later.
Yeah, so now he's 18.
So now he's 18, and he gets to write the mature reader book. and more importantly, for a character called Man-Thing.
I think it's perfect. I think he knew exactly what he was doing. That man.
The question is, did they know what he was doing?
Yep.
That's what I'm saying, but it's cool. Man-Thing becomes a very popular character later on. He gets his own series. But what I like interesting here is that there's that big box that says this publication is rated M for mature readers. Yep. Meanwhile, kids are writing it.
Yeah. An 18-year-old is writing it. That's perfectly legal.
He could have been 17.
I'm guessing he was 18.
There's a possibility.
I'm guessing he was 18 at the time. I'm just saying maybe it was 18 at the time. Okay. Also, isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that they put M for mature back then when that didn't officially exist yet?
Nope, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I know. They were ahead of the game in this one.
Ahead of the curve. And it was a magazine style, so that's part of it as well. All right, let's take a look at our next book here. And that goes to a very important book from the 70s, and that's Marvel Spotlight #1. This came out in 1971 from Marvel Comics. We have a high sale of $34,501 at 9.8. That was in February of 2025. $70 was the last sale of the no grade. The raw goes for about 165 fine, 280 at a 7.0. There's 2,809 copies in the census, and this is the first appearance of Werewolf by Night, also created by Gerry Conway.
Love it. Love it. You know, I don't care what anybody says. I love A Werewolf by Night. I know y'all love it too. I know he keeps coming back and they just keep giving him limited series, or he's a blood hunter here or there. I don't care. I love Werewolf by Night. I love it. And also this is one of those rare comics where the story is unfolding on the cover page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right.
It really is.
That's kind of, I don't love that. That always makes me feel but for some reason, I don't mind it as much on Werewolf by Night.
Well, it looks good because they were doing the whole panel stories here in the 70s. Because there's other books like this, and then you have the red, it's red. So it stands out. You have the little quarter box with the werewolf there. As I'm looking at it now, it's making me think of Teen Wolf. I don't know why. So where the werewolf looks like Teen Wolf.
I'm sure Teen Wolf got their inspiration from this.
All right. So that's cool.
There's Darkwong. Hi.
Love Man Thing and Werewolf by Night. All right. Yeah, absolute classic, of course. All right, let's take a look at our next book here. Here's another really cool one it's on my wall. It's on your wall, and it's Amazing Adventures issue 11. This one came out in 1972 from Marvel Comics. High sale is $5,000, 9.8. That was in March of 2026, so not that long ago, about a month ago. A little over a month. $895, 9.4 was the last sale. $90 fine, 228 at an 8.5. 1,515 copies in the census. This is not a first appearance, but this is the first mutation of Beast, where he becomes the character we know and love, the furry version of Beast. Originally, he was gray, then he becomes blue. So,
because apparently they couldn't figure out that he was just supposed to be black fur, right? But but they were like, well, no, because then it's not going to print properly. So they made this gray. And then somebody was like, no, we're going to do black and this blue highlights because that's what they used to do all the time. And then everyone's like, yeah, blue fur Beast. And it's just, they're like,
just stood, right? They're like, let's just keep it that way. Let's just keep it that way. So I always liked this version of Beast, but one of the things I know about Beast in general that was interesting for me was, especially when he was in human form, if you recall, when he was in human form, especially in X Factor, he was actually losing his intelligence, if you recall. And it's like he had to become the furry Beast version to get his intelligence back, which I thought was a cool little twist on it. Because if he kept his human form, though he was still agile and large, but he wasn't as smart as he once was. When Henry McCoy is known for being smart.
Interesting, because we go from Beast to furry Beast to Beast goes through a secondary mutation. Right,
he goes through a third one afterwards too.
And then goes through Beast has probably been through more mutations than any of the X-Men. Of course, that Beast is long gone now, and now long live Clone Beast, aka Stars and Garter's Beast, my favorite Beast. I just love that guy.
So Gerry Conway is responsible for Werewolf by Night. He's responsible for Man-Thing, and now he's also responsible for the Beast.
Partly.
Well, he's responsible for the Beast. Not, this version. So, cool. All right, let's go to our next book. And he's responsible for Tomb of Dracula #1 that came out in 1972 for Marvel Comics. High sale of this book, $16,800, 9.8. That was September of 2021. $725 at 9.2. We got a raw sale. We got raw fine goes for $253, which is, I think, it's pretty low in my opinion. $440 for an 8.5. We have 4,209 copies in the census. This is the first appearance of Dracula that's co-created by Gerry Conway and Gene Colan, which they were inspired by Bram Stoker's Dracula. And this is a cover done by also the late great Adam Neil Adams. Most people talk about this cover, but what they don't always talk about is the interiors.
I mean, it's a great book.
Classic.
Fortunately, it got reprinted or facsimiled recently, so I think that's great, and I actually should read it someday. Oh my God! Hey, Glenn, see you there. Yeah, no, there's a great series. Obviously, I mostly care about the series for one thing only, and that is Blade's first appearance.
The series, yeah, but it's still Dracula.
No, it's a good series. Actually, funny enough, I have a few issues of Tomb of Dracula, including one where he battles Silver Surfer. So I've read that one. That one's crazy. His son, who was born on Christmas, is now a grown-ass man fighting Dracula. I mean, it's great and it's insane. I love it.
Cool. All right. Next
but
book.
I should actually go back and try to read it.
All right, let's go to our next book here. Our next book is another Amazing Adventures. This is Amazing Adventures issue 18, 1973 from Marvel Comics. We have a high sale of $648 at 9.6. That was way back in September of 2020. $10 was the last sale at a no grade. $8 at a fine is the raw fair market value. $61 is the fair market value at a 9.4 grade. It's only 388 copies in the census. This features a character that not a lot of people know about. C-list character, Kraven. And this is his first appearance, which is
Killraven.
Killraven.
I was gonna say, Kraven the Hunter will be real mad.
No, Killraven. What do you know about War of the Worlds and Killraven?
I don't know nothing about Killraven. I know one thing about Killraven, that the first interracial kiss in a comic book happened in one of his books.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most I know about him. And I guess he does show up in some Marvel team up.
He does show up in Marvel team-ups. He did get a short, I think he had a one-shot in the 2000 done by Joe Lancier. I've definitely seen that. That costume, man. Yep, look at that.
I mean, that costume is a costume that could only have been birthed in the 70s. Let's be very clear.
Well, I could definitely see people walking around with that costume today.
Yeah, during, at nighttime for the Leather Club during Pride Month, maybe.
Complete with bandana. He's one of those characters that was like post-apocalyptic, Mad Max. That's kind of the approach of it. War of the Worlds. He's kind of like he falls under that fantasy barbarian style where they're set in the future, but they're still kind of, there's no technology, or there is technology, but you get what I'm saying. It was a big deal for its time. I see Bishop is in the house. What's up, Bishop?
Big L.
All right.
I don't know how they I don't know. They just use this character very willy-nilly. I like Marvel owns the character, right? So they should do something with him.
Yeah, but he's not a character that a lot of people love.
No, but he's interesting. So
he pops up here and there. He comes out every so often. So, but he's one of those characters that I guess there was a thing for him. So we'll see. All right, let's go to our next one. And it goes to the big one. This is one of the big. This may not be the biggest, but this is a big one. It's Amazing Spider-Man 121. This came out in 1973 from Marvel Comics. We have a high sale of $8,500 and 9.8. That was in this December of 2022. $200 at a very good was the last sale. That's actually really good. $214 for a very good, and raw $402 at a 7.5. Currently 8,986 copies in the census. This is the turning point. The night when Stacy died, and it's Spider-Man unintentionally snapped her neck and she passes away.
That's controversial, because did he or didn't he?
He went to save her.
Right, he went to save her. He heard something. He doesn't really know.
Well, it is implied that, when he tried to save her,
it's implied that it's questionable, so that the guilt weighs on him.
Well, that's the point. That was the whole thing. So many people believe that this is the book that enters into the Bronze Age. I don't think it is. I think the Bronze Age happens a little earlier. But many people believe
that one's debatable. But because this is such a dark turn for Spider-Man, a lot of people want to say it's here.
Yeah, this is kind of like the cutting point. I don't think it is because there's some books that came before it, especially when in the Batman run. When you look at Batman, Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil, I would say one of those books are more inclined to be the start of the Bronze Age. But this is an extremely important book for that time frame, because this is when things got real for Peter. You know what I mean? You know, it was a death. People didn't just die back then either. So the fact that you promised us the death, and to be honest, she stayed deaf. This version of Gwen has stayed dead.
Oh, Speedy is a junkie is from October of 1971.
Mm-hmm.
So
but it's even before that.
Yeah. Well, no, I can't think of what took place before that was so over the top.
Mm-hmm. I would say
apparently Conan the Barbarian is the first thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't label that. I'm sorry. Not my
But then after that, then I would go. Yeah, I would go with Green Lantern and Green Arrow. That's the earliest I can remember in Marvel DC history.
Yeah, anything Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
But again, in Marvel, this is
Marvel.
Yeah, this is the Marvel's take on it, right? So if anything, this is the book that ushered in for Marvel. The next issue, which is not here listed, 122, is actually becomes the death of Green Goblin. So we get two deaths back to back, and his death was so significant because in the Gerry Conway storyline, the Green Goblin storyline outlives Norman, and it actually goes to Harry, which we end up seeing in the movies and things like that. Harry ends up donning the mantle of Green Goblin, and it was Gerry Conway who came up with the idea.
But again, at the same, three of those issues had no comic code authority.
Yeah, they were like, we ain't doing this. Yeah. So it's interesting because he has been very significant in the creation of who Spider-Man is, and more importantly, an older version of a Spider-Man, where Stan gave us the high schooler, the college student. This gave us Spider-Man, the grown adult, pretty much. Right. Our next book is the biggest one of the bunch, and that's Amazing Spider-Man 129. This came out in 1974 from Marvel Comics. You know, I don't need to introduce to you what this book is.
I know the significance of the Jackal is remarkable.
He just might be that important though. $43,200, 9.8 was the high sale, and that was in June of 2022. We're gonna actually talk about this book later again. $1,650 at a 7.5. That was the last sale. This book just keeps selling, guys. This is a book that's always sells.
So sad because, like, to be an Amazing Spider-Man run collector, this is such a devastating book. It just slaps you around midway. You're like, you can pick up 121, 122. You can pick them up at reasonable prices. Then 129 shows up as like,
damn, right? Because the raw goes for $886 at a very good, $2,115 at an 8.0. That's your fair market value. But here's the part that gets crazy. $19,968. This will eventually break 20K in the census. And as you mentioned, it is the first appearance of the Jackal, but it's more importantly, it is the first appearance of Punisher.
Yeah, but there's got to be I would say we're getting to 20,000 copies. This doesn't feel like 20. It doesn't feel unachievable to get, except for the price.
But it's a book that constantly sells. It is a book, and like I said, we are going to talk about this book later.
I wonder how many of them have passed home to home, house to house.
Has to.
Like how many times, like, oh my God, I got my Punisher Grail. Oh my God. It's like, oh no, we're going to lose the house. Well, there goes my Punisher Grail. And it's like, oh my God, I got my Punisher Grail. This is so amazing. What do you mean that the B drive failed and that we were flooding in the house? No, not the bottom floor. It's like, oh my gosh, I got my Punisher Grail.
This is definitely the book that is utilized for that reason. That one, Wolverine as well, first Wolverine.
I feel like all those comics have a story and a journey. Like not literally every one, but I feel like a lot of them, a lot of 181s, a lot of 129s. I feel like they have a story of going home to home, house to house, owner to owner.
Well, and again, we're looking at this from a different perspective. Gerry Conway, right? Since we're on the subject of Gerry Conway, he takes over Amazing Spider-Man in issue 112, right? That's the image that you kind of see in the background here. He takes issue 112, and then he gives, once he's established, he gives us the death of Gwen Stacy. Then he gives us the death of Green Goblin. Then just a couple of issues later, not that many issues later, just a few issues later, 7 issues later, he gives us the Punisher. And then at this moment, we don't know much about who the Punisher is. We don't know the backstory of the Punisher. We'll talk about that a little bit later. He gives us the Jackal, which gives us some more stuff, which we'll also talk about a little later as well. This is it's 1974. He's in his 20s now, early 20s. And he's going dark with these characters and these stories because they're dark, man. You throw in the Punisher, that's dark. I don't care if it's in the Spider-Man book. It's still, Punisher's a dark, dark character.
Yeah. Which makes him fun to play with against Spider-Man and Daredevil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Daredevil's a dark character, so they're more inclined to each other.
Right, but Daredevil is very clear about not killing. And Punisher likes him and pushes him. And sometimes it looks like Frank wishes he could be like Matt, Yeah.
Well, which makes me excited to see. Honestly, my favorite thing about Brand New Day, the movie, is seeing John Bertol's interaction with Peter, with Spider-Man. I think this is going to be a lot of fun to see it because he's going to be like, oh, God, this goody two-shoes. Because that's kind of how he is with Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a super-powered superhero. Punisher has no powers, and he always outsmarts him in some way because of the way he is. So I'm excited for that. All right, here's another one. The Mighty Thor 225. This also came out in 1974 for Marvel Comics. High sales, $2,985. That was in October of 2023. $51 at an 8.0, so it's a very affordable book was the last sale. $31 at a fine, $120 at a 9.0. There's currently 1,335 copies in the census. This is the first appearance of Firelord, who is a Nova Centurion named Pyrrhus Creel before Galactus claimed him as a hero. So he is a hero of Galactus. So this is a good example of Gerry Conway going cosmic.
I love it. I love Firelord.
He does grounded characters, but he went cosmic for this one. So talk to me a little bit about Firelord. You get some Firelord booty.
Yeah, I know. Well, actually, that's not what I was aiming for. I just really love Firelord. I love how he's just running around angry, like he's got a fight. Of course, it's stereotypical fiery temperament, but he actually appears in Thor a lot, before he starts making his way to other books. But I love when he shows up in X-Men and Phoenix whoops him, they're like, oh no, Jean, be careful. Jean's like, they're like, oh my God, Jean is like woman handling Firelord.
But you would think he'll be a little more powerful than that because he's a herald.
Well, no, I don't believe he had herald status at the time.
But he was still a herald.
No, he becomes a herald.
Well, he is a herald as Firelord. At this moment, Galactus is what gave him the power.
Right, but I believe that he was already like this first.
Yeah. I don't know.
Of course, and then he's there for the War of the Heralds. If you read the Guardians of the Galaxy of the early 90s, he actually makes an appearance in the future because he essentially can't die as a herald. I don't know. I just find him to be a weird and fascinating anti-hero character. He's rough, he's tough, but sometimes he's a really good guy.
Surprisingly, he looks like another character on the DC side.
Are we getting into Firestorm?
Maybe a little later. All right, let's get into a DC book here, and this is Man-Bat #1. This came out in 1975 for DC Comics. High sale. This book is $2,985, 9.8. That was also in October of 2023. Last sale. This book's $10 at a fine. It's a very affordable book. $9, very good at raw. $89, 9.6 for graded. It's only 427 copies in the series. This is his first solo appearance. its first solo issue. It's a limited series, so we got a story of Man-Bat. So you picked this one? So talk to me a little bit about it.
How do you not love a Man-Bat?
I
Right?
didn't say I don't.
But
he did Man-Thing, so why he has to go to Man-Bat now?
I know people love Man-Bat. Man-Bat has got two of the best episodes of Batman the Animated Series.
The first episode, in fact. The very first episode of Batman the Animated Series was Man-Bat.
Yeah, I know. It's so good. So good.
Mm-hmm.
And then even the one where they thought it was him, but it turned out it was his wife turning into a bat. Great. I just love their use.
And she was topless.
I mean, technically, but they handled that really well.
They covered it all up.
So, yeah, exactly. They covered it all up, and then it was just bat stuff. And it's Las Cruces' birthday.
Happy birthday, Las Cruces.
I noticed in yet another chat. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like he's a beloved Batman character. It's always interesting to see him. Is it Kurt Langstrom? Is it someone new?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've seen lots of renditions of Batman. In fact, like at one point in time, I think Ra's al Ghul was building an army of Man-Bats.
Mm.
So we have seen all the freakish show with Man-Bat, but I really enjoy him. I think this is a great cover. I think it's a character that's really well loved. I felt it was worthy of a shout out.
Cool. Awesome. All right, let's go to our next one. And that's Marvel Preview number 1. I never understood why it's called Marvel. It was called Marvel Preview. It was a comic book. It came out in 1975 for Curtis Magazine. That was the imprint behind Marvel Magazine, the adult line. This book.
Well, this is a magazine-sized book.
It's a magazine comic. It's straight up magazine.
And I think the idea of Marvel Preview was to set things up.
Okay. $5,640, 9.8 was the high sale. That was in March 2022. Last sale of this book was $335 and 9.4. Raw goes for $82, so it's pretty affordable. $2,440 and 9.8 is the fair market value for a 9.8. There's 900 copies in the census. This is the origin of the Punisher. This is where we get to learn who the Punisher is and why he is the way he is. So we get to see the story of his family, what happens to his family, and they were like, you know what? This has to be a mature audience book. And
absolutely.
And right from the beginning, the Punisher was going to be a mature audience character, even though they've done other things with the character. But this book was meant to be an adult book. That was the purpose behind Curtis Magazine.
Did you freeze?
No, I'm asking you.
I didn't hear. All I heard was
I said thoughts.
Thoughts. Oh, that's a word. No, I mean, it's great that it's his origin. And it's so funny because later on, they just tell his origin like nobody's business, My wife and kids were in the park and they were gunned down by the mob,
Well, if you remember the first Punisher movie, not the first. The first was the Dawn of Longdrift, but the other one. I thought that origin was even more brutal because not only did they kill his wife and his children, they kill his entire family.
Yeah.
And I thought that was rough. I was like, you want to put a guy to the brink? There you have it. Kill the whole family lineage.
Yeah, they went all in on that.
They went all in on that. And look at this cover, man. He's blowing people up, and they're utilizing lasers to make it work. But it's like it's clear he's killing them. They're gonna jump off. They're gonna fall off a window. I don't know where they're at, but cool. But I still find it weird. It's called Marvel Preview.
Yeah, they're flying out the glass elevator. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. So, well, is it an elevator because it's brick? It's a window because it's a curtain.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's a curved window.
Yeah, it's a curved window. Yeah.
Okay, so they're in an apartment. Yeah, you know what? For all these years, I thought it was like an elevator. I thought he was just blasting people out the side elevator.
No, it's a bedroom actually because check out that carpet. It's carpeted floors, and I believe she's wearing some kind of lingerie or something.
I mean, look at them drapes.
You know what I'm saying? They got drapes going on. You got that one guy in the background, like, I'm gonna punch him.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, we'll see about that, mister.
All right, let's take a look at our next book here. And we're going back to Amazing Spider-Man 149. This came out in 1975. We have a high sale of $5,280, $9.8. $8 at a good was the last sale. $40 at a fine raw, 161 at 9.0. We have 2,449 copies. This is the first appearance of this Peter Parker clone, who later we find out is Ben Reilly. This is also the origin and death of the Jackal.
So it comes back around.
Full circle. Gerry Conway has no problem killing people.
No, he doesn't. He's about it. But some people know, like some people know, like, you're gonna shake it up. There's only a few ways to shake it up.
Yeah. But
it's funny because I talked to Joe Kelly about Death Spiral, and I was like, listen, you were trying to figure out a way to jazz up Spider-Man. You certainly did. You're like, let's just start killing people.
So now that, again, Gerry Conway is not responsible for the Clone Saga.
No.
But his character is the character that ends up becoming part of the Clone Saga. So looking back at this story, and looking back how the story was originally created with this whole clone and things like that, which turns out that Ben Reilly they made it seem like he died, but he didn't. I guess they retconned it in the 90s. This book is
I feel like Gerry Conway contributes a lot to the Clone Saga because not only does he have the spider clone, right, that we see here, he then also writes the story about the Gwen clone that torments Peter.
Well, he knows how to write about clones.
Right, but I mean, like, he had a whole thing. So I feel like he laid heavy foundation for the Clone Saga.
Well, he did. He brought it into fruition, so he's responsible for them going back to it, right? So it is a retcon, but at the same time, he made it so that, later on you could write stories. And yes, he is responsible for the Harry as a junkie story.
Yep.
So yeah, so that is true. The junkie stories were always a thing back in the 70s, man. Everybody was a junkie.
I mean, well, yeah, but Harry, that was a different. He had
issues, man. All right, let's go with our next book here, and that is another big one: Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man: The Battle of the Century, @1. This came out in 1976 for DC and Marvel. High sale of this book is $1,200 at a raw. That was in January 2022. $120 at a very good was the last sale. $128 for a very good. We don't really have graded books, even though some people say there are some graded books. I don't have those numbers for graded books because these are treasury editions. So I don't think CGC does the grading. I don't know if other companies do it because it's bigger than a magazine, right? So a magazine you could put into a slab. These are treasury editions. I have mine hanging in the wall over there. So it's large. These books are big. Which is interesting to me that they made it that way. But, $2 in 1976, man. They were making some money.
Yeah, that was a big deal. They're like, look at these.
Look at that price tag, man. So, talk to me about Superman versus Spider-Man.
Oh my God. How is that book not a crossover dream come true for probably every comic book loving kid on the planet in 1976? You got Super Spider-Man, you got Superman. Peter's coming from New York for this press event. Superman and Clark and Lois are coming from the Metropolis for this press event. We have the Marvel misunderstanding where they're not sure if they
started the whole trope, right?
Yeah, that's they brought in that whole trope of like, wait, are we friends? Are we foe?
It made sense though. Let's be honest. They didn't.
They did it in a way that I felt made sense. It was well done. I mean, I'm sitting here right next to my copy.
Yeah.
I still love this thing. It's crazy. And I mean, look at this gigantic action size pages.
No, they're big, man. It's awesome.
You know, it's such a great book. He's like, you know, he's like except, you know, he's like all excited to be Superman. Superman's like, you know, you might be a problem. He's like, why? And Lex is running around acting all crazy. I like that Spider-Man seems to be strong enough to actually like punch and kick Superman.
Well, yeah, you forget Spider-Man does have super strength, but
I know, but does he? I don't think he typically has Superman level super strength.
no, he doesn't. He's not to the same level. Like if it was an actual fair fight between Superman and Spider-Man, Superman will destroy him.
Yeah, I think because he's being manipulated by Luthor and Doc Ock, that's what gives Spidey that moment of an edge.
Yeah. So fun story. Known fact, Gerry Conway was going to do the Justice League versus the Avengers story. He actually had the writing for the story, and things happened. It just didn't come to fruition. George Perez was involved, Jim Shooter's involvement, and I think a little bit of Jim Shooter got in the way of it, and it just didn't happen. So, but this is not the first Marvel DC comic book. A lot of people don't know. This is not the first. This is the first.
The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, what a weird. Like, who came up with that idea?
Yeah, why that book? Why did they need to team up
to do Wizard of Oz? And then you did it on a property that didn't need it. It wasn't like it was owned by anybody, because it was old. I think it was old enough to be public domain already. So
that I don't think so, but I do think.
At that time, I think Wizard of Oz was already public domain by that time.
And remember, the movie version is not public domain.
No, the movie version is not public domain, but the story is.
Yeah.
So weird things. The first DC Marvel comic book was The Wizard of Oz.
I wonder if that was like maybe they just wanted to test
the waters with that.
Yeah, test the waters, and they're like, well, we can do it with Oz.
All right. Okay. As you're looking that stuff up, let's go to our next book. Our next book is All-Star Comics.
I found the answer. DC acquired the rights to the MGM musical, and Marvel acquired the rights to L. Frank Baum's novel. And and Stan Lee discovered DC was producing a competing project. He negotiated with DC and Carmine Infantino to avoid two separate Oz comics competing in the market. Their solution was to collaborate on a single mega-sized comic, creating the first intercompany crossover.
In other words, it had nothing to do with Superman and Spider-Man.
Right. They were like, no. We can't both produce one of these. We can't have that.
There you have it. And there is your facts with Cliff.
Yeah. One quick Google search, and it was a nightmare. Oh, my baby Power Girl.
There we go. All-Star Comics 58, 1975 for DC Comics. $3,250, 9.8 was the high sale in July of 2024. $50 and no grade was the last sale. $40, very good, is the fair market value for a raw, while the fair market value is $362 for graded at a 9.4. There's currently 3,208 copies in the census. And yes, this is the first appearance of Power Girl, the Kryptonian cousin of Earth 2 Superman. This is your girl. Go ahead.
I love Power Girl. You know,
and so there's a lot of boys.
You know what else too? I love the boob window for a P, right? And then
it was always there, man. It was always there.
And I love how this dude just kept making the window bigger and bigger and bigger until an editor finally said, "Don't you think you're making her breast a little too big?" And then they finally stopped. And if you read these issues in succession, it's just boom, 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 boom.
It's like a mutant power.
Yeah.
Actually, they got knocked out because they saw the boobs. That's the whole reason
in some cases.
Yeah. So
but yeah, this is the first time All-Star Comics had been published in like 2 or 3 decades, right? Yeah. And then they're like, yeah, we're bringing in the Super Squad. So we had the younger folks, you know, we had the grown-up Robin, you know, we had the Star Spangled Kid was a little older now. We got Power Girl. Huntress would be introduced very shortly after.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, this was just a good turning point, and and again, I love it. And we still have Power Girl. Power Girl survived Crisis on Infinite Earths, multiple rebooted origins, to still be the same girl from a parallel world, trapped here, the sole survivor of her own Krypton.
Well, here's the best part: is that she survived, right? But I wonder why. Why did they decide to keep her?
Well, the original.
I give you 2 reasons.
Boobs.
1 and 2.
Boob and boob. No, originally they were going to keep her because John Byrne wanted her to be his Supergirl.
Mm-hmm.
But DC's editorial was hell bent on Superman being the last sole survivor of Krypton.
Mm-hmm. It made sense because that was the whole reason for the Crisis. They ended up doing that. So I don't know why John Byrne wanted to throw in a Supergirl at this time, because
she survived the Crisis, right? Mm-hmm. And and there's an issue of Secret Origins where she's still remembering things as they were, right? And then she goes and finds her spaceship, only to find a magical spell cast by allegedly her grandfather Orion of Atlantis, and telling her, no, I used my magic to make you this way so that you would have like a home in the future, blah, blah, blah. So go on and know the real you. And then she goes on a quest to find her true self and all that. She even goes down into, the world below where Warlord is, to try and learn more about her Atlantean heritage. I mean, it is just crazy. And then what Jeff Johns and the others did as Infinite Crisis was coming and her whole identity was unraveling. The multiverse kept trying to refigure, who she's supposed to be. And she's like, this is crazy. And Psycho Pirate is with her the whole time being like, no, I can tell you the truth. But it's Psycho Pirate.
Psycho Pirate.
Yeah. So anyhow, I'm giving y'all way too much. Go read Infinite Crisis. It's great. And if you can get the showcase on Power Girl or JSA Classifieds for Power Girl, great.
Our next book is Miss Marvel #1. This came out in 1977 in Marvel Comics. 3,950,000, 9.8, and that was November of 2018. That was a long time ago now. 103,000, 9.4 was the last sale. $38 very fine for a Raw. $125 for 9.4. 8,932 copies in the census. This is the first appearance of Carol Danvers as Miss Marvel. It's not the first appearance of Carol Danvers, but this is her first appearance donning the costume of Miss Marvel. She doesn't even get the powers here. This is just when she becomes Miss Marvel. Right,
because Roy Thomas and Gene Colan created her in Marvel Superheroes #2, where she actually gets exposed to the energy that gives her the powers.
So Gerry Conway introduces us to the superhero, but then it goes to Chris Claremont, in which he does the whole rogue story with her. But what's interesting enough is how she's part of kind of the Spider-Man universe, which she doesn't afterwards. They kind of take her away from that. So obviously with Gerry Conway knowing his history with Spider-Man, I could understand that. But I always, looking at this imagery here, it's it's clearly Mary Jane, Jonah Jameson, and I'm sure that's Peter Parker.
Yep.
So, and then she's facing the Scorpion. So I never really looked at it before that way until, just recently. Was she meant to be a Spider-Man character?
I think so, because she was, he was basing her out of New York. And then it's funny because Claremont bases her out of New York, but then starts focusing her. It's so funny how writers write what they know, because then he starts bringing her in line with X-Men. Deathbird makes her first appearance here. Mystique makes her first appearance in this series. All this X-Men stuff starts happening to her that Homegirl did not ask for. And then the next thing you know, there's an Avengers angle and Rogue is stealing her powers and part of her identity. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then she ends up getting her stuff and she becomes the Captain Marvel. I'm a fan of Miss Marvel. Specifically, I like the black costume a little bit more. But this one's okay.
Everybody loves the Warbird costume.
I love that Warbird costume. It's awesome. I love it. This one's not bad too, but it's clearly it's a derivative character at this point, from Captain Marvel. So, okay. And we got another Fire character, and this is Firestorm, the Nuclear Man, #1 in 1978 for DC Comics. $923 and 9.8. This was November of 2021. $19 at a very good was the last sale. $19 for a raw at a very fine. $149 at a 9.6. 1,874 copies. This is the first appearance of Ronnie Raymond and Martin Stein. When you put them together, they become Firestorm. So, Firestorm, to me, I have a lot of memories of Firestorm.
Especially on Superpowers.
Exactly. What was interesting about him is that he, alongside with Cyborg, became an addition to it'll always be the Super Friends in my mind, right?
Yeah, well, right. It was the Super Friends, and even when he shows up, it's the Super Friends Superpower Hour. Firestorm shows up, and when Cyborg shows up, it's Galactic Guardians Powers team,
and everybody's still calling them Super Friends.
Oh yeah, even the DVD release is called the Super Friends.
Super Friends, because it ended up becoming the Super Friends, and that's the what makes it kind of cool is that they didn't call them the Justice League at any occasion because they wanted to do this whole Friends thing.
Well, they do pull them. They do refer to it as the Justice League at different times in the cartoon.
Yeah.
Like, it's interchangeable. It's like, so it'll be like, no, it's the Super Friends. It's like, oh no, it's the home of the Justice League. They'll always be the Super Friends to me. They were the Super Friends. They were the Super Friends before there was Justice League to me as a kid, because I grew up watching it and I love Firestorm so much. This was the time when that series specifically was very shallow. It was a very shallow series, but at this time when they introduced Firestorm, they actually brought story into it. So it was a rare time that we ended up getting story within this series. Obviously, same thing with Cyborg, but I never looked at Cyborg as a member of the Justice League because he was always a Titan to me. But Firestorm, yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, but Firestorm, to me, he had the coolest costume. His hair was on fire. He had this connection with Martin Stein when they merged to become this character. I love Firestorm. And like I said, the coolest costume. I didn't know, what's funny is I didn't know he came out in 78. I actually thought he was an 80s character. He feels very 80s to me.
In a lot of ways he is, but 78 is pretty close.
It's close, but it's still 70s.
Yeah. But yeah, no, he's a great character. And look, they were afraid of nuclear war then too, so no surprise.
Of course.
But
that's the whole part of the story, right?
Yeah, I was crazy about Firestorm when I was a kid, and I couldn't wait to find the action figure.
Yeah,
and so that was really funny, and again, all he did was it was just like such a silly thing that he did, but I was like, oh, it's Firestorm. I like that he had a crush on Wonder Woman, and like they played with that. But I like that Darkseid also had the crush on Wonder Woman. Like they introduced
Darkseid had a massive crush on Wonder Woman.
Remember when he made like the robot duplicates of Superman and Wonder Woman, and then he's like, grab Wonder Woman, and they're like teleporting away. And when they go away, it's the robot version of Wonder Woman, and Darkseid just blast it.
Whoever did the voice acting for Darkseid, I loved it because he always had that grizzled voice.
Yes.
It was perfect.
And even in the Galactic Guardians, there's an episode where they need to go to Apocalypse and pull the wool over Darkseid's eyes, and Wonder Woman's like, I'm gonna have dinner with him, right? And then Darkseid's like, all like, oh, Wonder Woman, the pleasure,
Good stuff, man. Comic book cartoons are awesome. All right, let's go to our next one. And that is Action Comics 521. This came out in 1981 for DC Comics. We have a high sale of $642, 9.8. That is ridiculously low in my opinion. $35 at a fine was the last sale. $26 a fine is the fair market value. $74 at 9.4. There's 410 copies in the census. This is the first appearance of Vixen, who will later become the first Black female member of the Justice League.
Yep.
Because
Black Lightning turned them down.
This, to me, is such an underrated key. It is, in my opinion, this is ridiculously low.
This is going to go on my future underrated keys list.
Yeah, we were going to talk. We were going to do that today, but Turns out we didn't do it today, but you now know one that's going to be in this list. It's not the same Vixen that we know today, but this is the same individual, right? So the costume is different,
and she's got the talisman.
She got the talisman, so she got the powers. It's just the costume's different.
Yes.
What do you think Vixen's future looks like in pop culture?
I would say that she's a good candidate to go to live action.
Yeah. Well, they did an animated series. You remember? I don't know if you know about the animated.
But that was part of the CW, and
it was part of the CW.
Appeared. Yes, we had a live action version of her on Green Arrow, and then like a descendant of her being a version of her in Legends of Tomorrow, whatever. But I don't feel like we've gotten the true blue, Vixen. Although I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with television Vixen. I had a lot of fun.
Well, what is it? The Justice League animated series with her and Jon Stewart. That was kind of like a love triangle.
Yes.
With her and Hawkgirl and stuff like that, because he was like, "Yeah, I'm a Vixen," and they had to put the two black characters together, didn't they?
I mean, I still stand by the fact that Hawkgirl is Latina.
She's Egyptian,
right? But the Thanagarian version of her, if you look,
well, she's Dora the Explorer now.
Played by Latinos, one of them.
Heard? She's Dora the Explorer now, so she's as Mexican as they get.
Yeah.
Vixen,
and don't forget, she's the mother on Wizards of Waverly Place. She was Selena Gomez's mom on there.
So with Vixen specifically, do you think we're gonna see her again live action, and how will we see her?
I think as they build towards a Justice League, I could see her being introduced.
Yeah. I always saw her as Halle Berry.
Well, obviously, some dreams cannot live forever.
Yeah, not anymore. But she was always like, when I saw Halle Berry, I always saw Vixen. It's kind of, and I think that's how they drew her, to make her look like Halle Berry because of the short hair and all that stuff. So good book, man. If you guys see it in the wild, man, pick it up. It's ridiculously low, but it's because I don't think a lot of people know what it is. You know what I mean? It doesn't really say, like, it says her name in the top, like Superman meets Vixen, but no one really sees much. It's kind of like it's like Black Cat's first appearance, where they don't know if she's a hero or a villain, but it's in this Superman book, so it becomes a little interesting. But it's a book that has a lot of potential. Lots of potential. Mm-hmm.
I definitely think it is. And I was going to say, like, Vixen is like a beloved but lesser known character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's, would you call her C-list or B-list?
I'm going to say B. I feel like she's got some recognition.
She's known to the public, I think. I think some people know it. Not to the same level. No, not the public at large, but people that watch the cartoons and things like that. I think there is something there. Thank you, nerdy geek.
Dora is Peruvian, Mexican, Cuban. Dora is all Latinos. It depends on which station you turn into. Actually, I don't mean that, but sometimes I feel that way.
All right, here's our next book, and that is Batman 357. This one's 1983 for DC Comics. We have a high sale of $1,750 at 9.8. That was November of 2021. $63 at a very fine was the last sale. $79 at a very fine is the fair market value. $263 at a 9.6. There's 2,715 copies. This is what they call the first full appearance of Killer Croc. I don't agree with that. First cameo appearance of Jason Todd. I agree with that even less, as weird as it feels. This is a book, to me personally, should not get the love it gets. And the reason why is because I've looked through this book. And as I look through this book, yes, you have Killer Croc in it. We don't know it's Killer Croc at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes, you have a moment with Jason Todd. He's not named in this book. It is a book that has the moniker of being there first, but at the same time, it isn't to me.
Okay, to be fair, it only says cameo of Jason Todd.
Yeah,
You
but it
know?
doesn't even say his name.
Right, but we are then told immediately the next issue that it's him.
Yeah. There's a little bit of retconning that's done too afterwards. It's
Oh,
not
of
Gerry
course,
Conway's
especially
fault.
for Jason.
To me, it's not Gerry Conway's fault. He was just writing the story according to the way he writes stories at that time. This is 83. This is how they wrote comic books. They always lead into something. There's always a subplot somewhere to lead to the main story later. I just don't think this book should get this kind of love. Nothing against Gerry Conway. I think the other books should get more love than this one. But this is the one that's getting all the love. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, again, Hulk 180, everybody used to know that as the first appearance of Wolverine, and then suddenly it's 181.
But Hulk 180 does get love.
Yeah, but only but that love had to be recultivated.
But at least he's in there. It's Wolverine. You can see it. Here you see a guy in a trench coat. And we find out that's Killer Croc. Here we see some kid in the background. And that's Jason Todd. It feels so forced into it. In other words, that's what I'm trying to say. This book, to me, nothing against Gerry, but this is a book that I don't think should get that kind of love. Here's another one that I picked up. This is our cheapest book in the list, but this is a book that I picked up that was fun, and that's Justice League of America Annual Number 2. This came out in 1984 for DC Comics. We have a high sale of $165,009.8. That was in April 2021. Last sale of this book was $2 at a fine. $79 is the fair market value for a raw. Honestly, it's a lot cheaper than that. $80 and 9.8, 234 copies in the census. This is the first appearance of the Justice League from Detroit.
Yes. Not
which
from
I think
Detroit,
is funny.
of Detroit.
Yeah, of Detroit,
Yeah.
which I think is funny to me. But what's more important, it features some very interesting first appearances. Gypsy, Vibe, Steel, and Hank Haywood III.
Yes.
The person that stands out to me the most, of course, is Vibe.
Yep.
Vibe becomes a guilty pleasure hero, right? Cisco. Yep. In other words, if you watch Flash TV series, you know exactly who he is. Talk to me a little bit about this book, because I think this is a book that you like. I actually picked this book out, but I think you enjoy this book as well.
Yeah, no, because all right, so this is the thing with this iteration of Justice League, right? The senior members all want to take a step back. Aquaman takes on a leadership role, and what editorial was trying to do was have this book move in a direction that was compatible and competitive with the X-Men and the Teen Titans, because DC saw that readers were drawn to these intimate soap opera-esque heroic adventures like Teen Titans and X-Men, and they tried to take this in the exact same direction.
Yeah. And the success?
And it did not a success, but for better or for worse, it has left us with what is known as the Detroit era.
Yeah. Well, just look at them. The colors.
Yeah.
It's very.
This is very 80s. Don't tell me this isn't wild.
It is 80s. Airy. It's 80s, but it doesn't feel grounded. It feels forced.
And yet the stories are kind of grounded. That's what's really funny.
Right.
So, and then they even tried to drag in some of the senior Justice League members back into the book to spice it up. Obviously, that didn't help.
And your first problem is turning Aquaman into the leader. That's your first problem.
Well, listen, Aquaman's a capable leader.
He is, but look at this. Just look at the other members of the Justice League. You literally picked the least popular one of the bunch. The least popular of the bunch. The only one that was less popular than Aquaman, which I think he's still a better character, is Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
But look,
I feel
Batman, Superman.
I felt like if you have him here, why isn't he the leader?
Right? So you got the Trinity, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. They're out, right?
Yep.
But then you got the secondary guys of Green Lantern and Flash. They're also out. So all you got left is Aquaman. And Aquaman, I'm sorry, even at this time, did not get any love. There was no love for Aquaman back then, even though he had his own cartoon.
Which is funny because Aquaman did take a beating prior to this, you know, losing his kid to Black Manta and all that.
Yeah. But so just look at him, man. He's and these characters just they don't do the part, man. They just don't. I like them personally, but they just don't do the part. They're too flashy.
Perhaps.
All right. Okay.
But like again, it was the 80s. Flash and substance, man.
All right. Here's the last book of the bunch before we get to our final picks here. Web of Spider-Man issue 36. This came out in 1988 from Marvel Comics. We have a high sale of $565 at 9.8. $30 at a no grade. Was last sale $31 in near mint with Raw's fair market value, $121 at 9.6 integrated. We got 1,182 copies in the census. This is the first appearance of Tombstone.
I mean, and we're expected to see Tombstone soon, right?
Yeah, he's going to be in Spider-Man.
Yeah, and we've seen this book come in and out of the top 10 recently, so it's worth it. Clearly, Gerry Conway's impact on Spider-Man alone is a massive amount of his legacy.
Yeah. So one of the books we didn't spotlight here was Spectacular Spider-Man #1.
Yep.
Right. He did. And then of course he's done work on Web of Spider-Man here. And Web of Spider-Man was interesting about Web of Spider-Man to me is that it feels even more grounded than Amazing, where Amazing is very fantastical. Web of Spider-Man felt to be like the urban version of Spider-Man. That's why you ended up getting like the gangsters and things like that. And Tombstone was very much the main villain in Web of Spider-Man, right? It was the secondary issue, but he felt to be like the main villain in this book when he was introduced in 36, because we get to see him more and more later on in this book. Like you didn't really see him in Amazing. You only really saw him in Web. And that was because they were trying to do something a little different. When Spider-Man got to face more of the fantastic characters here he got to face more characters that were more of the grounded, street level mobsters types and things like that. And Tombstone's just one of those characters that, he's still considered a B-list character in my opinion, but he is upper level B-lister the way I see it. And things like that. And I always like Tombstone. He's bad, man. He's just bad.
And look how they handled him in the recent cartoon too.
In the cartoon, and the guy who's playing him in the movie played them in Spider-Verse. He was the voice of him. So I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it.
I'm hoping.
Yep. All right. So at this point, Gerry Conway's legacy is really based off of the 70s, 80s. He did work in the 90s. He did a few things afterwards, but
his TV resume.
Yeah, and then he moved off to TV and stuff like that. And that's where he did most of his work. However, lately, most of his last run, he did some work on Animal Man. He had a cool run with Chris Batista, which is a good friend of mine. In Animal Man. He went back to doing Spider-Man with Renew Your Vows. Also with Going Big when he had some work here with Bagley, was doing it, Eric Larson. And he even did work on Carnage, which is pretty cool, with Mike Perkins. So he kept himself busy. But, his heyday was the 70s, was the 80s. That's when he excelled, and things like that. So with that said, that's the legacy of Gerry Conway. We hope you enjoyed this creator spotlight as we mourn the passing of Gerry Conway, who is, in fact, an icon. So that's that, man.
Well done.
Thank you so much. And the fact that we did it, I did this like yesterday, started yesterday. So a lot of good stuff, man. He'll be missed. All right, guys. We're almost at the end of the show. We still have to do a duck race, but last week we couldn't do the top trending because of what we were going to. But this week we get to do the top trending, and we're going to do it. We're going to do our trending book. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trending books for this week. All right, it is the final week of April, and with that, we got some really cool books that made this list. Some books were in the list last week that are returning. We'll talk a little bit about that one. Some didn't make the list that were gone. Static was one of the books that we were going to talk a little bit about. But this week, we got a couple of books that, for obvious reasons, are in this list. So, Cliff, just as we said it before, tell me what you see.
Well, I see boobies on Lost Fantasy. I see the death of Elektra. I see the introduction of Clayface, who has a movie coming. I see a foreshadowing of Mayor Luke Cage. So all fun things. All fun.
Yeah. All right. So there you have it. Let's take a look at our honorable mentions for this week. Our honorable mentions are the books that didn't quite make the list. They were close, but they didn't make it. Starting with not just the death, but the debut of Elektra, or Electrica, as it says in the screen. That came in the list. Also, a John Jang cover that was widely popular with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Echoes of the Empire. So that was largely because of John Jang. People
I was going to say,
really
this is only because of John Jang.
Yeah, John Jang on Star Wars. And then finally, here's another one that was based off of Daredevil Spec, and that is The Pulse, issue 13. This book is really affordable, man. So even now
you do realize The Pulse is about the Daily Bugle, and of course, at the time, Jessica Jones is working for the Daily Bugle.
Mm-hmm. So all three of these books didn't quite make the list, but of course, two of them are Daredevil Spec. Issue 13 is the first appearance of Danielle, who is the daughter of Jessica Jones. Mm-hmm. So, and the daughter of someone else,
Luke Cage.
Exactly. So we didn't say anything in Daredevil TV show about it, but we now know that she had a baby. All right, let's go into our.
Wait. Do we know that she had a baby in the TV?
Oh yeah,
show?
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. But they don't say who they don't say who the father. But you know, if you know, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, we know. I hope they stick to it.
I'm sure they will. All right. Number 10 goes to Devil's Reign, issue number 6. Speaking of Daddy, the Dan Pedozia spoiler variant. This book came out in 2022. $14 near mint was the last recorded sale value. $20 is the most common fair market value. We don't really have any information on any slat versions of this book. It was number 8 for CBSI, number 3 for cover price. The 7-day, 30-day sales was 5 sales within the last 7, 37 within the last 30. The hype level is low. One of the things I'm going to say about this week's list, there wasn't as many sales as you normally would see. So there weren't any big, huge sales from what I've gathered from the.
It's probably because people are paying their taxes.
Well, people are probably paying their taxes.
They can't afford canned soup.
So it is the sales figures are actually really low this week. So this one's here obviously because of Luke Cage spec. I don't think he's gonna be the mayor of New York when Daredevil's over, but people are starting to trend that way. So we'll see what happens and see what goes on. But this book has been specking for that reason. It's a cool Dan Pedozia book.
Look, I enjoy Luke Cage as mayor of New York in the comics, so I would like to see it in the show too.
We'll see what happens, but it is something that they're hinting at. I don't think the show's hinting at it. I think people want it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, we'll see. Didn't they start working on season 3 already?
Yeah, and he's definitely in season 3. So,
oh yeah, see, that's exciting. See, that's a way to build excitement.
Yeah. Our number 9 book goes to Exquisite Corpse number 20, the Secret Thank You variant. I know you like that cover.
Actually, I love this series. I love the series.
$52 near mint's last recorded sales value. $46 for near mint is the average. This is number 9 for CBSI. Again, 7-day, 30-day sales. We got 12 and 17. Hype level is also at a low. Every time Exquisite Corpse comes out, there's always a secret thank you variant. Why do they call it secret? Beats me. We know it's coming.
Well, it's a secret because you don't know what it's going to look like.
It's the same cover.
Except it's got the thank you on it. I always thought it was a little more mysterious than that. I'm so sorry.
But the thing is that you know it's coming. Because every issue has one.
I know, but it'd be more exciting if the secret was, oh wow, look at this cool.
It could still be
secret
called
cover.
a thank you variant. I don't have a problem calling it a thank you, but calling it a secret thank you variant by now is no longer a secret to me. I know it's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should just call it the thank you variant.
That's it. Just call it thank you. That's it. The foil, right? Rattlesnake got it. It's a foil. It's a foil.
I like that it's a foil. That's a nice touch.
It's a nice touch, but it's not a secret anymore. You know it's coming. Number 8 goes to Vampirella #1, the 1 in 15 Will Jack Virgin variant. This came out for Dynamite in 2026. $18 near mint was the last value. $20 is the fair market value of this book. It was number 10 for CBSI. It actually came in number 18 for cover price. 7-day, 30-day sales, we got 1931. Also, hype level is at a low, but it's a nice cover.
It is. It's very nice.
It's a nice cover.
And it's Will Jack. So
Will Jack. And
I'm
she
gonna
looks
be
older.
sure.
He usually draws them younger looking, but she does look a little
look,
older.
she still looks pretty young. He's giving her a sense of
But she
empowerment.
feels like she's in her 20s as opposed to being in her teens.
Well, I as she should. Let's be honest, okay? I mean, my God,
she's a little older than that, right?
yeah. I mean, the woman is hundreds of years old at this point.
Hey, it works for me. She's somebody's grandma.
I don't want to think about it.
Let's go into. Why does it say? Look at it. No. That was. Man, how did that stay there? Number 7. Oh, brother. No, that was because I left it there.
Okay.
Number 7 goes to Daredevil 184. The
Oh, Dirty Harry cover.
Dirty Harry cover. No More Mr. Nice Guy, 1984 from Marvel Comics. $14 very fine is last recorded sale. This is also a $20 very fine. $82, 9.8. As far as trending list goes, this was number 8 for cover price. 7-day, 30-day sales. We got 11 sales, 43 sales. Hype level is also at a low, but it does have hype because of the Daredevil series. This is the first team up of Daredevil and Punisher. Why it's in this list today, I don't know. It feels like it should have been in the list last time. Daredevil. It's a book that it's still a cool cover. It's an iconic cover. It doesn't have any real spec significance as far as today goes, in my opinion.
Yeah, but still, Punisher is in the moment, and perhaps that's all that's needed.
And it's part of it. And it's still a great cover. I'm not taking that away from it.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 6 in our list, it goes to Detective Comics 298. This came out way back in 1961 for DC Comics. Last sale was 180 at a no grade. Most common is 455 at very good. $832 at an 8.0. As far as trending list, is number 4 for Key Collector, number 6 for CBSI. And 7-day, 30-day sales, we got 8 sales, 19 sales within the last 30. Hype levels at a medium. Now, this is a little different because the book has more value. The 7-day, 30-day sales does change that because it's a bigger book. It is the first appearance of Clayface in the Silver Age.
Yes.
And obviously, we talked a little bit about it last week, but we actually got to see the trailer this week. What's your thoughts on the trailer?
No, it looks great. You know, they said it's going to be body horror, and they're like, it's going to be body horror.
I love that it's taken directly from Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah,
they were like, we're going Batman the Animated Series because that's what people
except
know.
that they're not giving him a gay lover like they did in Batman the Animated Series.
But will we get Roland
You laugh,
Daggett?
but he is.
But are we going to get Roland Daggett? That's what I'm curious. Because Daggett was responsible for it.
Yeah, we might, because, you know,
that'd be cool.
Daggett isn't super essential to the lore. I'm assuming that Clayface is going to take place in like the 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
But that because Clayface is Clayface, he'll be around in the present. So when we finally have Batman show up, it will be fine. It'll be like, oh, Clayface has been around for ages. Batman's just started fighting him.
But Batman is also going to be around for a little while. We don't know exactly.
Listen, we will know when we get our Batman.
Remember, Batman does exist already in this universe, and Batman has been in the role for a while. We know this.
Says what?
Says James Gunn.
No, anything that came out of his mouth is nothing. If it didn't appear in one of the shows, and it didn't appear on, if it has not appeared,
he did appear in Creature Commandos.
Batman?
Was that Batman? Yeah, dude, go back.
Batman's in Creature Commandos?
Yeah, go back.
Does he speak?
He has a cameo scene.
Okay, so we know Batman exists. All we have right now, concrete, is that Batman exists.
Batman exists. He's already been in the role.
No, right. He's already been in the role. Okay, but it could be 2 weeks, a year, 3 years, or 20 years.
He is
no, because
how long
James
is
Gunn only said it, I don't count it, because that man has changed a lot of things he said, including the authority. All right.
Well, the authority is the authority. But he's in. So if you go back to Creature Commandos, there's a scene where Batman's in like a rooftop. You don't get to see his full body. He's only in silhouette. You know it's Batman. It's obvious it's Batman. All right. And they have gone on the record and said Batman has been in his role for several years. How many years? I don't know. But I think it's at the point that we have a Nightwing. So he has to have been in the role for quite some time.
On the record means nothing when it comes to these studio people.
But the question about Clayface is that you're right. We don't know when this is happening. Obviously, one of the things that James Gunn went on the record to say is that Clayface is the first movie chronologically speaking.
Yeah, so definitely the past.
Yeah, it's definitely set in the past because Clayface already exists within the universe. So it's pretty cool.
Very good.
All right, number 5.
Number 5.
Amazing Spider-Man 129. We talked a little bit about this book. From Marvel Comics, $2,000 was the last recorded sales value. $886, very good. $2,058, 8.0. As far as trending list goes, it was number 2 for CBSI. Here's the part that I always love about this book. This book, like I said to you, it sells. It just does. And even with its price tag. So 21 sales within the last 7 days, but within the last 30 days, 87 sales. For a book of this size of price tag, that's impressive.
Now, how do we know that those 87 sales are strictly the first printing?
They are the first printing because anything that is a second printing or a multiple printing or a facsimile falls under a different list. So when you do this, and even this 87 sales, this is direct. This is not counting newsstand. So it's not counting newsstands. It's not counting Mark Jeweler either, because those fall under a different window. So there's more sales of this book. But when I do this list and when all these lists are tabulated, they're based off of the direct sales of the book. If there is a newsstand sales, it doesn't get counted. And it sells based off eBay, My Comic Shop, and any other sources that they could get APIs for.
And it's 129, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can build a bot that could stock this book for me.
All right, let's go into number 4. And coming in at number 4, that goes to Lost Fantasy number 1. The book that seems to be getting a lot of traction lately. It was from Image Comics, came out last year. $13 near mint is the last recorded sales value. $29 near mint is the most common, $46.98. As far as the trending list, it was number 1 for Key Collector, number 7 for CBSI, number 4 for Cover Price. Here's where things get interesting for me personally. I have 9 sales recorded for the 7-day, 19 sales recorded within the last 30 days. Hype level is at a high only because of all the it made it to every single list, and it was number 1 on one of the lists. The book is getting momentum. We talked to the writer yesterday. With Cover Price. So if you guys had a chance, you could go see the video there. We'll talk about it. And I like the premise of the book. I was very fortunate enough to pick up multiple copies of this book today at cover price, practically. So, and they're giant size in the sense of I think they're like 48 pages each book.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's your thoughts on the story so far? I take it you've been reading it.
Believe it or not, I haven't, and I have several issues. And mostly I took interest in it because I was like, oh, the youngest Jonas brother is involved. And that was kind of it. Yeah. But listen, he promotes the hell out of this book. He promotes it as much as he promotes his own little band touring place to place.
Well, it's getting a lot of fan recognition because the characters are becoming very popular. Obviously, Curtis Price, the writer, is a gamer, so there's a lot of gamer references to it, to the point that you already know by the variants. There's different types of variants which are very popular. There's the Final Fantasy variant. There's some other variants. There's a Resident Evil variant. There's a Castlevania variant. So the Eldrin, I think it's called the Eldrin. So that's kind of building up a momentum. And that's also the reason why the book has hype, because all the variants are also getting hyped as well. So again, the sales numbers here are for the 19 books. But when you think about the hype that's involved in it, I don't think that's the case with the trending lists, because the trending lists are basing it off the book itself. But I think the hype of it is based off of all the books, if that makes sense. Okay.
I dig it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Coming in at number 3, we have ourselves the Daredevil book we talked about earlier, and that's Daredevil 181. This came out in 1982 from Marvel Comics. Its last sale was $25 at a no grade. $25 near mint is the most common fair market value, $191 at 9.8. As far as trending list, it was number 2 for key collector, number 7 for cover price. This one has 7-day sales of 20 sales, but 109 sales within the last 30 days. Hype level is at a high. Here's another, just like the Luke Cage book, there is some spec talk with this book, because we do know that the actress that plays Elektra from Daredevil Netflix series has been working out, but we don't have any confirmation that she's returning for season 3. There's only speculation. And what's even more interesting is that why are people hunting out the death of Elektra, thinking that that's going to happen?
They probably feel like that's where the storyline is progressing.
It's eventually gonna get to that point, because we have Bullseye. We've already had the death of Elektra. Wasn't that the Daredevil movie?
Mm-hmm.
And they did it exactly like the comic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So who knows? I always like this cover, and something about these yellow covers in Daredevil, man. He likes the yellow backgrounds, doesn't he? This is when Frank Miller was drawing.
I gotta say, it really worked for the covers they chose to use it on.
Yeah, and let's give Frank some love. Let's give him some flowers. This was a really good time in his artwork. And yes, you say Klaus was hugely involved in the process.
I will give it to Klaus all the time.
But this is Frank. Frank was actually doing some work here too.
Well, Frank is the storyteller, right? And like, I get it. And like, but listen, I really love Klaus's work. I feel like I do have something was right.
I do have something that stands out to me now that I'm looking at it. How is it possible we could see Daredevil's full ear?
Well, because it's so tight. You know,
it's so tight that it's going inside his ear.
Yeah, you know, you can see it. You know, because it's so tight. And also the light is shining really intensely, so you're really, you know.
Okay, but it would make. But it would make sense. It's like Captain America shows his ears. Daredevil's the type of character I would have expected to show his ears.
Because he relies on the freaking ears.
Yeah, so that's number 3. Let's go into number 2 in our list. At number 2, oh my goodness, what's happening here? Number 2 is actually Lost Fantasy issue number 5. I look at these and then for some reason this happens. But this is number 2. Lost Fantasy issue number 5. 6,000 year minutes, last recorded sales value. Most common is $28. Trending list, it was number 1 for CBSI, number 1 for cover price. Came in number 2, guys. 7-day, 30-day sales, 21.46. Hype level is at a high. This is the first appearance of the character known as Edge. Very popular character within Lost Fantasy. I believe part of the Firestorm series. I'm not invested in Lost Fantasy like that, but I did pick up some of the books today. It's a cool cover.
It's a great cover. Did you read Firestorm number 1?
No, I did not. But isn't it part of the same universe?
It's part of the same universe, but they did a very good job of making its own story, you know? So, like, you know, if you like that it's a shared universe, cool. But if Firestorm is your first introduction to this universe, also cool.
That is cool. Give me 1 second here, because this is annoying me.
There you go.
Fixed.
Yeah.
Hate when that happens. All right. And finally, the number 1 book of the week. It comes at no surprise because you saw it in the thumbnail, and that is Lost Fantasy issue number 9, the Cat Blanchett variant. This came out just recently for Image Comics. 35,000 year mint was the last recorded sales value. Most common is $29. And as far as trending list, it was number 10 for Key Collector, number 4 for CBSI, number 6 for cover price. It's the sales, guys. The sales is what did it with this book. We have 7-day sales of $22.89 in the last 30. Hype level is at a high. Look at you. You got that beautiful copy there. It really is a nice it's nice cover.
And apparently it's Cat Blanchett's
first cover. I said
right?
Cat. It's her first cover. Yep.
Yeah, so it's multi-key, to be honest.
It really is. It's not Bombshell's first appearance though.
No, it's not, but it's her first cover.
Her first appearance is issue number 5, I believe.
Which is probably why number 5 picked up some steam as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, but this is one of those characters that people seem to be gravitating towards, specifically.
I wonder why.
Her name is Bombshell, man. It says it all in her title.
Oh, listen, I'm just saying, everyone's looking at her like she's Power Girl. Clearly,
she reminds me of a WWE wrestler, though. There's a WWE wrestler that's out there that she reminds
me of Power Girl. They're blonde, they're boosty, they're curvy. All they share a lot in common, except for being Kryptonian.
But she got that wrench, man. Look at that wrench. It's glowing.
Oh, you think Karen Page, aka Karen Starr, aka Kara Zor-El, you think she can't use a wrench? All right, she is a computer genius.
That is our number 1 book of the week. It goes to Lost Fantasy issue number 9, the Cat Blanchett variant. Tell me what you think about this list. I want to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments, and let's figure out if she returns for next week. Boop, boop, boop. And with that said, it's down to the 2 of us. So as we get ready, we're gonna do our duck race. So
oh my gosh, it's happening. I'm so excited.
Time. So what I'm going to need from you, my good friend, is who were the add-ons for today. So I think it was Matt, right? Matt was one.
It was me, Matt, Rattlesnake, Nerdy, and Las Cruces.
I'm gonna star them just so I can have them. So
you're unstarring them, dude. You're unstarring.
I know. I'm unstarring them, but it's like, so there's you, right? Then it was Heroes for Hire.
Yep.
So that's Matt. All right. Then we have Rattlesnake. Rattlesnake Comics. Who was the next one? Nerdy Geeks Comics. and Las Cruces. That's everybody, right?
That's everybody from this week.
From this week. I got last week's already. While we're doing that, can you tell everybody what's going on in the world of Cliff?
Well, you can always find me at the Council of Comics Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. where we do our live hangout. And Friday, you can find me with Not Near Mint at 9 p.m. As we talk about collecting comics at the end of the world. Sunday morning, you could join me for Comics and Coffee with Cliff. This coming week's guest will be I Have Comic Issues, Bryant himself. So I look forward to that. And, just much, much more. Oh, we're reviewing Superman, the Council of Comics, 5 p.m. Sunday. So see, lots of fun stored.
Cool. All right. Let me.
Oh, and I defend my trivia title or Jeopardy title for week number 3 over on Kingdom of Nerds. I guess this coming Friday.
That's what's going on this Friday.
Hello, Dave. Well, listen, they asked me to be on there like so many times, and I was like, it's never happening, right? Then finally, one morning, Bruce is like, please come on tonight. And I'm like, all right. So I go on, and I win, right? And it's great. And then I went back Friday, and I got Lady Fantastic.
What's up, Dave?
And Lady Fantastic was whooping some ass, right? But then we got onto some like modern pop culture one, and I was knocking it out of the park, right? And then of course I had more money to risk at the end than her, so she bet her whole 800, but I bet 800 out of my 1200 because I knew like my Eiffel Tower answer, whether she's right or wrong, she can't defeat me, and like bam, I won it. So that's 2 weeks. So I'm very excited. And I don't mean to sound cocky because every week I'm a nervous wreck. I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm really just trying to hang in there and not lose points.
Are we ready to do this?
Yes.
Okay, let's shuffle.
You asked me to stall for time.
And you did a good job. So tell me when to stop shuffling. I'm going to keep shuffling. We got 42 entries. Thank you so much, everybody, for being a part of the Izzyverse. All right. Is that good enough?
That's good enough, yes.
Let's do this. Let's find out who's going to win this month's Rat Pack. So while we're doing this, I did get to see the Michael movie. I enjoyed it a lot. Did you get to see it?
No, and I don't care.
I enjoyed it. It was a fun movie, man. The music was awesome.
Yes,
of
his
course.
music. I can enjoy his music anytime.
But it was so good.
Listen, all I've heard from the movie is that it's a wonderful joyride for everybody who ever loved him, right? Yeah. But I also heard that they pulled all the Diana Ross scenes, even though she was
they did. It is a very by the numbers type of thing.
Yeah, it's so by the numbers that it's bland. And then
look at Rattlesnake. Rattlesnake! Is Rattlesnake going to take it over? Or someone's going to come out of nowhere? Uh-oh, someone's coming. It looks like JSS is coming in. Oh! Wow. Oh, wait. Nerdy Geek.
Nerdy Geek.
And congratulations to Nerdy Geek. Nerdy Geek. Hit me up on IG. I can get your package ready. I'm going to start sending out later this week, so I should be able to get Nerdy Geeks out. Nerdy Geek, you also, on top of that, let's just stop the race for a second because this gets annoying after a while. Nerdy Geek, you also get the Supergirl blank. So, I still hear the duck quacking. So, Nerdy Geek, the Supergirl blank is yours. I could draw Supergirl here, or I could draw a different character that's related to the Woman of Tomorrow, whether it's the movie or the comic book. So you let me know from there. But congratulations, Nerdy Geek. Daniel, I got something that'll be heading out your way pretty soon. So I got something for him as well. So, guys, we're tired. I'm hungry because, I didn't eat my dinner yet. But I have it ready. I just got to reheat it and stuff like that. Cliff, I love you, bro.
I love you too. We went really long tonight. I am shocked.
The Gerry Conway, man.
Yeah.
We have a spotlight, man. We went 2.5 hours. But guys, it's 25 people watching right now. Thank you so much. He's like, what? Thank you. Yep, Nerdy Geek, you got the win. You got the win. So hit me up on IG. We'll talk a little bit and stuff. And thank you, DVH. Thank you, Garth. All right. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you then. And we'll talk more comic books next week. So till then, Excelsior. Oh my goodness, all this stuff that's happening here. I have to hit end stream.
I think this is it. I think you're about to go home. Okay. All right. Like thank you.
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 Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I never said thank you. And you'll never have to.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I guess I'll see you.